Hello, this is Z9. I have been playing around in the Superflat again, and I've come up with a new kind of timer that you can set for extraordinarily long periods of time, which to me is pretty exciting. This here is my new hopper-based timer. So as you can see, this hopper is filling and lowering with items. Currently there's only 10 in all of the 4 hoppers. So what happens is it's kind of a principle of a locking system. So as this one's powered, it moves all of its items into that one. But because it's being locked with the relay there, its items can't exit until this one is empty. So as soon as this gets its first item, it locks that one. So by using 2 of these little devices in conjunction, we can create a delay timer. This is great for people who build all sorts of things. I actually thought of this while working in my farm. I was going to go harvest potatoes, and I have a couple of levers that I flip, and I sit and I wait, and then I flip the levers again. And I came up with this idea so that you could figure out how much time it needed for your farm to process. You know, in my case it was potatoes, so how long does it take to wash them all down the slope, and use a system like this to sit and basically wait for you. Now this one cycles indefinitely, which was the first one I developed. So then I started thinking about how I could keep it from cycling indefinitely. That's when we came up with this one. So using the same basic principle, if you ignore the bottom half here and look at just this piece right here, it's exactly the same, except for using a relay there. I'm using an actual block to save a couple of redstone. Doesn't work any different. I could replace that with a relay and it would still work fine. In fact, I think the relay one looks nicer. We're in a test world and materials are free, so why not? But in this case, instead of having the second loop here, I watch this one. And as soon as there's anything in it, we hold it locked. That way it can fill up with all the goodies. And then as soon as we push our button here, our button will signal this relay, which feeds a 15 signal. So unless that hopper is completely full, so that means 5 stacks of 64, as long as one of those stacks has 63 in it, this system functions properly, because it won't be a 15 signal until all 5 stacks are at 64, which is very important to note if you're trying to make this last a really long time. Of course, if you really want it to last that long, off the side here, just add more minecarts and possibly more locking mechanisms like this, and you could easily make this last a lot longer. This one here, same thing. Take these little things, these little offshoots, and you could build 2 more on either side over there and over here, and you've just doubled the time that it takes for the little 10 stones. This is a 10 stone timer. 10 items moving back and forth in the cart. And when you add items, make sure you add them in the right spot or it can off-balance it. It has to be in something that currently has more items in it. This one isn't quite as picky about that because it has the lock and it makes sure that everything stays until that one is full. Unless, of course, you push the button. Technically, if you keep pushing the button, you kind of keep resetting the timer. Because as long as this button is pushed, they will all pile up here. And as long as there's items in there, they'll continue to pile up there. And if this one's feeding that one, they continue to pile up there. It kind of works around in circles like that. And of course, as soon as the first item hits that cart, as you can see, it's locking. So using this system, like I say right now, this one has 20 in it. But you can, if you load all 64s, notice all my 64 stacks. Now when I push the button, it might not trigger. Yep, notice that? Because it's actually receiving a 15 signal. We talk about that 15 signal in some of my other videos, but if you take even one block out to make it 63, then when I push the button, it's not getting a 15 signal, it's getting a 14. Notice how all that excited when the goes out. And this will be a very long delay timer. Needless to say, I'm not going to sit around and wait for it. So we'll pull some blocks out. And it cycles. And you can see it fill. Okay, let me pull up here so you can get a really good look at that. There you go. Oh, and of course on the hoppers, I'm making a clockwise spiral. See how the little spout points to that one? And that little spout points to that one. The other one is also clockwise. If it wasn't clockwise, you'd have to reverse the circuit and block in the other direction. There you go. My new super delay timers. I actually plan on installing one of these in my farm to automate the floodgates. I don't know. I'm trying to think of other devices I might be able to attach this to because I like this. Might also be good for instance, I was talking about my carts getting jammed, and I used a daylight sensor to basically pick once a day to send the cart anyways, whether it's full or not, to clear out item jams. This might be a good solution for that as well. But that's all I wanted to show you. So please subscribe to my channel if you find this kind of stuff interesting. Leave comments, feedback. Do you like this clock? Heck, if you use it, please tell me. Maybe send a video in showing one of these timers in action. I'd love to see. Thank you. Have a good night.